three of my brothers and sisters here to help with the welcome and the prayer. We love to pray before each of our events and have God shine on us so that we can actually inspire and make the world a better place to live. So this vision and mission was thought of by the four of us, and it is to educate and share historical leaders as well as current leaders that are doing great things in the world to make the world better, and to put some light on them and have people see that there is hope, and have people learn more about this month. Every single person in the world should learn more about Black History Month, because the more you know, the more you're able to have gratitude and learn that we need to be together to make this planet work. So I'd like to turn over to Dr. Roz, Dr. Smile, my sister, to give the prayer, and then we're going to go round robin so each of you get to meet and hear these leaders that help us.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Father God, in Jesus' name, we thank you for raising Black leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge for such a time as this. Clothe us with your wisdom, anchor us in integrity, and fill us with fearless faith. Let our voices carry truth, our actions reflect justice, and our lives reveal your glory. Strengthen our minds, steady our hearts, and establish our steps as we love and lead, serve with humility, and walk in kingdom authority. We declare we are empowered, equipped, and appointed for impact. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. And why don't we turn over to Dr. Breakthrough, Dr. Stan. Thank you, Dr. Stan. The reason you are here is because we all would not be here if it wasn't for the gracious connections you make unconditionally every single day to people, including myself. So thank you for all the introductions you've made to make these programs more successful.
Hey, man. Well, thank you, man. It's a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. Appreciate you. And again, anything that God does through me, I'm just so grateful. And I tell people all the time, I was a nobody, but he made me into a somebody. And now I'm committed to telling everybody he can do the same and a whole lot more through anybody. And that's what this is all about. 100th anniversary. It was 1926 when Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week. And then 1976 when it started as Black History Month. So this is the 100th anniversary of this celebrating. And again, the scripture is clear. He that despises his neighbor is because of a lack of wisdom. And so when we're educating, not just, ourselves, but everybody else, I mean, we all can look at people as who they are, not judgmental, not preconceived notions. And so that's what's powerful. So again, thank you, each and every one of you for spearheading this. And thank you who are watching. And by the way, we need you to spread the message, let people know this is powerful, it's practical, and it's designed with your education and your empowerment in mind. So I close with this, and that is, they used to say that you're a product of your environment. And I was like, that's part right, but actually you're a product of your empowerment is what I say. And so we can change our empowerment by being part of this Black Hour of Power every day. By the way, Doc, the other day I was in tears just seeing people honoring other people that are so powerful. Unlike the crab in the bucket, one crab's trying to get out and they pull him back down. No, you're producing a reverse crab in the bucket. We're like saying, hey, Dr. Cassandra, you're doing good, but you can do even better. Go ahead, Tanisha, you got this, girl. Go ahead, Dr. Smile. Go ahead, Dr. Smiley. And so thank you again, and appreciate each and every one of you. I'm honored to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And finally, I'd like to have the voice of our director of events, who has a very, very big shoes to fill. She does all these events. We have over 300 events in February, and I don't know how we do without her. The Smile Channel rejoices because of her smile and her spirit. Thank you, Tanisha.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Smiley, for this vision and allowing me to participate and be a part of the execution of it all. We're excited about so many people being illuminated in this month. There is such a great opportunity. And the wonderful thing is that you still have time to participate. You still have time to share about the leader, the Black leader that is influencing and impacting you. So make sure you go into the comments and click the link where you can sign up to be a part of this Bold Leaders of Authority, Courage, and Knowledge. It is going on every single day in February, every single day for just 1 hour for you to share about the leader you know, and 1 hour for you to learn about leaders that you have not even heard of yet. I've already been reminded of some people that I had forgotten about, and been encouraged about some people that I was like, oh, I forgot they did that. Oh, I never heard of them. And so if you want to learn something new, if you want to be a part of someone else learning something new, then this is a great opportunity for you. And even more so, share it on your socials, share it on your email list. Listen, copy the link and put it in your email list and blast it out for Black History Month, because we want you to be a part. So we thank you for supporting, and we look forward to bigger and better.
Well, I have a surprise for the three of you, because there are so many people we can speak about. And this month it actually taught me a lot about how people are ticking, like how they're inspired. But gratitude is when you actually share how someone touched your life. And I want to share this because there are not enough days in the month for me to speak about the people I would like to speak. But if anyone would like this list of 200 amazing, inspiring leaders, I am going to be speaking about several of them. But this list is available to you. It gives you ideas of who you can speak about. And there are 200, and I will whip through this a little quicker here. And you can have this absolutely for free. And please nominate somebody who wants to speak about a leader if it's not you. Thank you very much, and welcome to Black History Month, Hour of Power.
Go ahead.
You can start.
Me?
Yep.
What an excellent opportunity. This is such a great opportunity to be able to share in this Black History Month celebration. I am Dr. Patricia Scipio, founder and CEO of Scipio and Associates, LLC. I am a corporate strategist, a professional speaker, and best-selling author. I've had the opportunity to work with multinational corporations for over 4 decades, advising them on governance, risk management, and controls. Today, I empower business owners and individuals to live with integrity and to achieve their boldest professional and personal goals. So today, I am going to share my inspirational leader, Lisa Nichols. Lisa Nichols is one of the most requested inspirational keynote speakers, a best-selling author, and founder and CEO of Motivating the Masses. Her work has reached nearly 80 million people worldwide. She has helped individuals and organizations reignite purpose, confidence, and momentum, especially in moments of change and uncertainty. Her journey from a single mother on public assistance to building a multi-million-dollar global enterprise gives her the rare ability to speak with both heart and authority. She doesn't just motivate from theory, she activates from lived experience, translating resilience, clarity, self-trust into practical leadership presence that the audience can feel immediately. She is a trusted keynote partner to organizations where she is often invited to re-engage their teams and have their leaders communicate with conviction. Lisa is a New York Times best-selling author. She has written several books, offering clear, concise, and actionable frameworks for confidence, communication, and purpose-driven success. She has appeared on The Oprah Show, The Today Show, Dr. Phil, and Steve Harvey Show, and several other major media networks. Beyond the stage, Lisa is deeply committed to service. Through her nonprofit organization, Motivating the Team Spirit, she has supported hundreds of thousands of young people, helping prevent suicide, especially teen suicide, and also having them return back to school after dropping out and rebond with their families. Lisa has earned international humanitarian recognition and multiple civic honors today. After appearing in The Secret in 2007, doors began to open for her. This led her to participation in the world-renowned Chicken Soup series. She wrote Chicken Soup for the African American Soul and Chicken Soup for the African American Woman's Soul. Lisa is known for her ability to influence a room, reawaken belief, and ignite momentum that lasts. Her stories are real, they're down to earth and relatable. In her best-selling book, Rise Up, Ignite Your Inner Fire with Stories of Courage and Commitment, she talks about funding her dream. She tells the story about how she wrote a check out of her paycheck and just kept on depositing that check in the bank. And for over 3 years, she had not even looked at the checking balance. So after 3 years, when she finally went to the bank, she had enough money to start motivating the masses. And that's how it began. As CEO of Motivating the Masses, she has reached over 100 million people. She speaks all over the world, spanning from the US to Thailand, Africa, Mexico, Europe, Bali, and many more. Her brand stretches across all cultures and nationalities. In her best-selling book, Against All Odds, Inspiring Stories of Tenacity, Resiliency, and Unyielding Ambitions, she tells the story about loving yourself first. She talks about the challenges of Black women's relationship with wearing natural hair, and I can relate so much to that. She tells a real funny story about being in South Africa, and she had her afro, and someone walked up to her and says, "How do you get your hair like that?" And she says, "Well, I'm in Africa, and it's an afro." And the person says, "No, my queen, that's not an afro, that's a crown." So as she addressed the audience, she shared with the audience the story about loving yourself, the story about how long it took for her as a Black woman to really feel comfortable wearing her hair naturally. She talks about how she embraced her mocha skin, full lips, round hips, and curly hair. In her most recent bestseller book, Unstoppable, Stories of Grit, Determination, and Perseverance, she talks about the power of owning your truth, trusting yourself, valuing yourself, and never ignoring your gut feelings. She's chapter 1 in that book, and I am chapter 2. You can get all of her books on Amazon. I recently had the privilege of watching Lisa's Broadway performance, When My Soul Speaks. When she got on that stage at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater in New York, she just told story after story live with real emotion. She brought the house down. Lisa is my kind of lady. She is unstoppable, and so am I. Lisa Nichols has over 2.5 million followers and can be reached on all major social media platforms. So check her out. And now I would like to introduce our next speaker, Carol V. Brown Jones. Carol V. Brown Jones is a transformational speaker, storyteller, and elder guide who brings the legacy of Harriet Tubman into today's leadership conversations. She is the president and CEO of Harriet Tubman 3LC, which is Love, Leadership, and Legacy Coaching. She's the founder of Grandmothers and Their Girls United by Love and the host of the podcast, GG United by Love, where she amplifies voices rooted in courage, healing, and purpose. An author of 3 books on love, leadership, and legacy, Carol has portrayed Harriet Tubman for over 25 years, helping audience embody servant leadership with faith and action. With a master's of public health and a 40-year career as a registered dietitian, she weaves wellness, resilience, and spiritual grounding into every message. Her work activates leaders to rise with clarity, courage, and a legacy that lives beyond them. Ladies and gentlemen, Carol V. Brown Jones.
Thank you, Dr. Patricia, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share Harriet Tubman. Now, I know Harriet Tubman's a name that most people know about, and I know about her in a more, to me, an intimate way, as I have become the elderly version of Harriet Tubman for over 25 years now. And with that, I am happy to say that I am Harriet Tubman. And I don't just say it as far as a t-shirt. As Dr. Patricia just mentioned, I have written 3 books about Harriet, and each one of them is actually a curriculum. It is teaching all the things that we can learn from her stories. And the number one thing is self-love. I believe that this little slave girl, this little Black slave girl, born 3rd generation slave, really had to love herself to believe that she should be free. She believed it, and she held on to that belief until she made her freedom come to fruition. But she went back, and I say she went back because of love for herself and the people she left behind. As she mentioned, I've written 3 books about Harriet, and I just want to share one chapter out of one of my books. This book is The Harriet Tubman Way, an inspirational guide to self-love, empowerment, and legendary leadership for girls. And this chapter is chapter on demand respect. All my chapters open up with a quote from an African-American woman or man. This one is from Gwen Ifill. To me, race is not all about grievance. It is also about pride and empathy and humanity and understanding the value of differences. But along with that, there are also expectations that we should set for ourselves and for others. We should expect to be treated as equal citizens. In this chapter, I share a story where Harriet Tubman spoke up on behalf of all her Black people in the United States. This story is called Say What Needs to Be Said, and Say It in the Way That You Say It. She shared a parable, and I have a hard time saying her story without going into Harriet. So let me just go into Harriet for a minute. I was at the New England Colored Citizen Convention, and they was talking about white folks wanting to know what to do with all us free Black folks. They talked about sending us back to Africa. I said, that's a bad idea right there. So I made my way up to the podium and had to tell them what I thought. Now I said, I'm gonna tell you a story. Now there was a man who raised cattle, and he had a good living selling his meat, but he wasn't satisfied. he wanted more milk from his calves. So he planted garlic and onions all over his pasture. And the cows, they ate, and they made more milk. And he took that extra milk and made cheese and butter and was trying to sell that. But folks didn't like their milk and their butter tasting like garlic and onion. So he plowed it up and planted cloves instead. But it was too late. The wind had blown that garlic and onion all over his field, and he couldn't dig it up. It was rooted there. We's rooted here in this here country. We've been here 200 years or more. Everybody here now was born right here. We built this country. We raised the food that everybody's eating. We took care of white children and our children right together. We is born in this country and we is part of this country and we ain't going nowhere. Now, Harriet told everybody that we are citizens and we deserve respect. And I don't just teach about Harriet. So in this book, with this chapter open up with Gwen Ifill, I asked, who was Gwen Ifill? The person on a stamp, and what does it take to get on a stamp? And how Harriet Tubman speaking about courage and respect is something that is a universal lesson that we need to be teaching our children. And we need to be showing what that looks like by our examples. My last book is Harriet Tubman. The last book is Get on Board the New Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman's spirit is guiding us to love in actions. And if you go to my website, www.karolv for Vanessa Brown.com, you will see where you can go to my store and get a free digital copy of this book. You can buy the book as well. But why am I giving this book away? Because this is a movement, not just a book. I want people to stand up, unite in love, come together, and let's make a difference. I really call out for grandmothers and their girls, the women that the grandmothers can influence, because when grandmothers speak, the world will change. And so thank you all for this opportunity to give you another look on Harriet Tubman and how important it is that we respect ourselves, but we also teach our children what the honor it is to stand on the shoulders of people like Harriet Tubman. Thank you. I think I have another minute, don't I? Let me finish this. Sorry. As I said, I reach out as far as love in action is all about self-love. And self-love is love in actions is with the S on the end. Because I teach love in everything we do. Every word we say, every action we take, how we spend our money, how we spend our time, and how we communicate and have relationships with other people. Love is the way to make the world better. No violence, speaking out in your own way, being creative, being yourself, being your authentic self. That's the magic. And that's how we practice love in action. Thank you. Is it still on me?
Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Carol does an amazing, amazing, amazing Harriet Tubman. She only gave you a little taste. So please, if you even look at her TED Talk, when she dressed the part, it's just phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing, Carol.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Diane Strachek. Diane is a retired speech therapist for babies from birth to 3 years old. She's been doing this for 3 decades, and she's an educator. Diane is also a champion for marriage and family dynamics. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Diane Strachek.
Thank you so much. What an honor it is to be here. This is my second authorathon, and it truly has been just a delight to meet so many amazing co-authors and authors and people that have written books. I'm just really honored to be here. So yes, I have had my own life sprinkled with a lot of issues around marriage and family. And so I was really drawn to what Michael Jr. is doing. He is actually a comedian. And he works with his wife, Ebony, beautiful lady. And I wanted to highlight what he's doing for marriages today. He has learned to do something that's very rare. He's learned to help people to laugh at the same time, to laugh deeply, but also to think deeply at the same time. Michael Jr. is a comedian, but he is amazing communicator with a purpose. He has toured nationally and internationally, bringing clean comedy to churches, theaters, conferences, and corporate spaces. But what makes him isn't just that he's funny, it's why he's funny. Michael Jr. often says that when he discovered his purpose, his comedy changed. Instead of chasing laughs and responses from the audience, he started delivering impact. Instead of performing for the audience, he began to serve the audience, and that shift from performance to purpose changed everything. His humor isn't random. It's intentional, it's redemptive, and it's healing. He uses laughter as a bridge to break tension, to soften hearts, and to speak truth in ways people can receive the lessons that he's imparting to them. He doesn't do that alone. His wife is right beside him, and they make such a wonderful team. They're truly a delight to watch and to embrace their heart as a couple. It is so much fun to see them together, going through their lessons that they have planned out, and they're just amazing. She stands alongside him, and just they minister together. They found it together. A beautiful program that you can watch. It is on YouTube. It's where I found that. It's Funny How Marriage Works, a live marriage event that combines comedy, biblical wisdom, and real conversation about relationships. They don't pretend that marriage is perfect, and that to me is such an honoring part. They don't present a polished, untouchable version of love. Instead, they present honesty with humor. They remind couples that laughter can disarm defenses, and that joy can bring connection, where faith can be imparted to the entire family as they walk in that. So they elevate God's love, not with condemnation, but with passion and comedy. Michael's journey also teaches us something deeper. You don't have to separate the talent from your calling. You don't have to choose between excellence or faith. You can have them both. You don't have to silence your personality to honor God. Instead, your gift can become a ministry. Your story can become your own message. Your laughter can help someone get to their own breakthrough. Michael walks into a room where people are expected to laugh and they leave inspired. He stands on stages where people expect jokes and they do get those, and they leave challenged to live with intentions. I wanted to stop right here for a minute and just give you my personal testimony. What I really enjoyed, one of his most empowering messages for me as I listened to him, because I did raise my children. I raised three sons as a solo mother, and the fathers were never around. There was two fathers, and they were just not around by choice. And so one of the most impactful sessions that I had watched was the one on Father's Day. It was one of the most inspiring sessions I have ever heard about as we think about our father wounds, and many of us have that for different reasons. Some of them are more severe than others, but he walked us through a story, and at the end, he had such an impactful message that I encourage every person to watch that. So you can watch his stories and his events live on, well, recorded on YouTube. And if you're lucky, you can also catch some of his live events. But it's just amazing to see how he took something that was so painful and he could flip it around to where it became a strength. So I want to encourage you to, if you check any of them out, that would be the first one I would recommend. But he has many more, of course. And when I thought about that, I thought about my sons and how, coming from a man's perspective, how easy it is for him to speak to the heart of a man, especially those that may have heart wounds with the father. I just wanted to come on here because I have such a deep passion to strengthen families. Communication is one of the hardest things. Is if we are not communicating with our children and with each other with respect and love, how are they going to catch that? And because Michael Jr. really speaks to that, it is just, but there's so much joy when they are sharing together as a couple. They just have so much joy and insight. And I watched him in a live session with a friend that I knew from a different group. He actually took him through a pathway that was so unexpected for his guest that it just empowered me to realize the power of taking time to listen more carefully and processing what they're saying, what another person's saying, so that they could feel understood. And when I was working with the children, the babies, I knew in my heart that my true client was the parents. If I could not win them over and let them see, number one, that you have done an amazing job as a parent, and thank you so much for taking this step to be here, that my job was to help this child learn that their voice was very important, that they had the right to be heard, they had the right to be understood, and that they needed to be able to build those skills so they could speak out when they had a need, when they had to give a report of what happened to themselves for that day for their parent, and most importantly, for them to bond with their parent in such a unity that when you can do it at a young age, then that is going to carry that pattern over into their own new family when they grow up. So that was such an powerful thing to me. For me, it was more than just teaching them how to speak. It was setting a foundation for healthy, loving relationships and knowing how to be honored. And that came through working with the parents. I wanted to point out that there were so many truths. When we hear truths, and this is something that Michael does so well, when we hear truths, they actually can heal us. And there are some truths that, when spoken in a negative way, can be even more harmful. But he is so good about bringing out the truth in such an inviting way that you really want to hear more. You really want to follow the pathway that he's taken you down when he's taking you down this road. And it's very surprising how he will sometimes, he makes it very clear what part he's in. He will, at one point, the one I was watching, on fathers, he was saying, okay, now when I'm going to tell jokes, so I'm telling jokes, I'm going to be over here. But when I have something very important for your heart to hear, I'm going to stand over here. And he did that. And I'm thinking, that way it's like you're really prepared for what's coming next. I thought that was just brilliant that he did that. He prepares us. The conversations that we have with one another, they can either divide us, they can bring harm, but we know that God's heart says that we are to speak life to others. And we can do that from a place of healing and purpose and contentment and trust and faith. And that is one of the reasons I wrote my first book. So I had worked all my life with children. And so I wrote a book called, whoops, oh, you can't see it, but it's Giggles, Wiggles, and Biggles. And that is just from an event I had done at one of our parks. And I think the Lord just told me, just go ahead and write a story about what happened that day. So it is going to be a series of the fruit of the Spirit. This is the first book, and it is on the fruit of joy and also making friends. So there's going to be other books, and each book is going to highlight a life skill and also a fruit of the Spirit. And that is the first book I wrote. I wrote another one, but that one is on a different topic. But to me, understanding the power of having ability to speak out our wants and needs, that was my first goal when I sat with children. And what I see Michael and Ebony doing is that they are modeling for couples healthier, stronger, healing language and insights so that our marriages can be healed. Marriage is God's idea. And aren't we thankful for that? Because he put us in his family. So it just shows that is why there's so much attack on marriages, because if they can break down that system, then the family is left without a true covering with the husband if he's not there, the father if he's not in the home. And for me, I had to step up and be that for my sons. And thank the Lord, he was there for me to be my covering so that I could do that. But there's so many broken hearts because of the devastation of hurtful things that happen in families or marriages. And so I just really, truly support and am honored to see Michael Jr. and his wife, Ebony, come alongside to be that voice of victory, to be that voice of change and hope and faith for marriages, because if you can capture that with a husband and wife, then it's going to trickle down to the children, and it's going to make the children have more confidence in themselves so they can one day say, Lord, what is my purpose? Why am I here? So I just wanted to thank you again for the honor of being here today and for being able to share the wonderful life that Michael Jr. and his wife Ebony are stepping into for the benefit of so many families. So thank you so much. I think that's all I have today, but thank you so much. I appreciate being here, and it's such a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diane. That's what I really, really like about this series. Michael Jr. and Ebony, I've learned something new. Founders of Funny How Marriage Works. Thank you for that education, Diane.
Thank you.
And now I want to move on to our next speaker, Dr. Janet Little, affectionately known as Dr. Jan. She's a certified transformational facilitator and coach, combing her background as a family medicine doctor and corporate medical director with trauma-informed, resilience-focused coaching. She's the founder of Optimal Vitality MD LLC. She helps healthcare professionals break free from burnout and restore balance. As an international speaker and coach, Dr. Little integrates science, medicine, spiritual insight, and personal development to empower both individuals and teams. Known for her engaging, adaptable style, she provides transformative support, strengthens resilience, fosters well-being, and empowers healthier individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Janet Little.
Thank you, Dr. Scipio. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Janet Little, and my Black inspiration is Dr. Freeman Hrabowski III, former president of my alma mater, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, or UMBC, an environment he built that shaped me. And he's also named 100 most influential people in the world. He understood that dreams don't survive on hope alone, but on systems willing to protect them. And I just want to spend a little time reflecting on what it means to hold dreams until they can hold us. Dreams by Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. I learned this poem by Langston Hughes not in a literature class, but in a science pipeline, a place where dreams weren't poetic, they were necessary. In 1963, 4 little girls were killed in the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church. That moment, captured years later in the documentary 4 Little Girls, was not random violence. It was terror with intent. And a young Freeman Hrabowski was growing up in Birmingham at that time, in a city where simply existing as a Black child carried risk. In that environment, dreaming wasn't innocent. Hope itself could be a target. Dr. Hrabowski did not respond to that error by shrinking. He responded by deciding something radical, that education would become a place where Black dreams could be protected. Now, some people survive history. Others decide to interrupt it. He understood that brilliance alone is not enough. Without belief, structure, and expectation, talent can wither long before it matures. Years later, as president of UMBC, he carried that conviction forward. Under his leadership, the poem Dreams was recited again and again, not simply as inspiration, not as ritual, but instruction. Repetition turned poetry into posture, belief into expectation. Dreams were not optional, they were assumed. That vision took form in the UMBC Meyerhoff Scholarship Program. Not just a scholarship, but an ecosystem designed to ensure that Black excellence in science and medicine would not be accidental. When I was saying those words as a young college student, I didn't yet know what my dream of becoming a doctor would really ask of me. Only that, to whom much is given, much is required. I knew what I was working toward, but I didn't always know what I was working from. I was learning how to perform excellence before I fully understood who I was becoming. Some days, my dreams weren't even believable to me, and still, belief came first. In that environment, no one asked whether my dream was ready. No one waited for certainty. The expectation was simply that I would grow into it. Someone was holding the dream until I could hold it for myself. So when the world later watched Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett stand steady during the global pandemic of 2020, a Black woman scientist at the center of a historic moment, I didn't see exception. I saw preparation. She too came through the Meyerhoff program, through a system shaped by belief, discipline, and expectation. This is what happens when dreams are defended long before the spotlight arrives. What Dr. Hrabowski understood long before outcomes could be measured was that resilience is not accidental. It is taught. It is reinforced. It is built into environments. Dreams don't survive on inspiration alone. They survive when someone is willing to hold them through uncertainty, through doubt, and through history until they can stand on their own. Now, years later, I've come to understand the rest of that poem differently. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen with snow. Dr. Hrabowski didn't just recite those words. He built institutions that lived them. Black history is not only about who broke barriers, it's also about who held the dream long enough for others to walk through it. So I'll leave you with this one question. If someone once held the dream for us, who are we holding it for now? Thank you. I can be reached at info@drjanetlittle.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jan. Thank you so much. Dr. Friedman Hrabowski III, President UMBC. This is a learning hour for me. And so now I'd like to move on to our next speaker, who is Dr. Deborah McClendon. She's a board-certified family nurse practitioner with a PhD in nursing and a master's in public health. She helps people heal at the root, mind, body, and soul. She is a national board-certified health and wellness coach, certified neurotransformational coach, integrative health strategist, and Paracletos counselor. She uniquely blends scripture, science, and the soul to ignite a whole person transformation. With decades of clinical and public health experience, Dr. Deborah guides individuals and communities to prevent, manage, and even reverse chronic disease by addressing the deeper mental, emotional, spiritual, and lifestyle drivers of health. She's a #1 best-selling author, sought-after speaker and teacher, and an executive Broadway producer. She uses every platform she can to call people back into alignment so that they can flourish with vitality and live whole. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Deborah McClendon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for that introduction. Today, the person that I will be highlighting is Mary Eliza Mahoney. Mary Eliza Mahoney was the number one professionally trained, professionally trained African-American nurse in the United States. The title registered nurse did not exist at that time. On the surface, she was just another Black woman born in Boston. But underneath, she was born to formerly enslaved parents who had moved to the North in search of freedom. Her parents trained her to dream, and they planted dreams in her and a foundation for the love of education. But the world handed her a broom. Mary Eliza Mahoney didn't step straight into nursing. She had to serve around it first. So for 15 years, she worked in the shadows. She served in the New England Hospital for Women and Children, one of the first hospitals in the U.S. run by women physicians. She functioned as a domestic worker, which included being a cook, janitor, washerwoman, and performing informal nursing tasks. All along, she was quietly learning the work, observing the care, and preparing herself for the role she would one day claim. In 1878, at 38 years old, an age where many people think their path is already set in stone, she was admitted to the hospital's nursing training program. There's no record of whether she applied previously or whether she had a mentor or a sponsor. We do know, however, that there was no protective accommodations for race or bias. This program was not for the faint of heart. In fact, it had a reputation for being among the most rigorous nursing program in the country. It was a grueling 16-month vetting process of 16-hour days and constant scrutiny. Records show that of 40 students who started that class, only 3 finished. And Miss Mary Eliza Mahoney was one of them. She wasn't just a graduate. She was a miracle of persistence. All those years in the shadows had worked together for her, not against her. Even after graduation, though, many hospital opportunities remained closed to her. This was due to structural inequities and systemic disparities in healthcare. From among the few doors that were open, Mary chose private duty nursing, a setting where she could practice with dignity, autonomy, and excellence. And at that time, this was a common path for Black nurses. We highlight Mary now because she reimagined the impossible. Her choice reminds us that even when systems present limitations, excellence, courage, and stewardship can find new paths, shape the future for everyone who follows. She moved from surviving the system to architecting it. Mary Eliza Mahoney didn't wait to be validated. She took her skills directly to families, where her reputation for excellence became her credentials. She charged $2.50 a day, and that's about $75 a day in today's money. It was respectable pay, but more importantly, it was economic autonomy. She controlled her environment, maintained her dignity, and proved that excellence commands value even when the system tries to hold you back. And in the context of this, it wasn't until 1891, 12 years after Miss Mahoney graduated, that the first Black-owned and operated hospital in the United States opened in Chicago. The Provident Hospital and Training School Association. The primary mission for this hospital was to provide medical care and to educate the professionals who would provide the care. While Mary Mahoney never worked at Provident, she belonged to the same sacred movement of the era, preparing with excellence long before the system made room for them and for us. In 1896, she joined the White Nursing Association, now the American Nurses Association, but found it unwelcoming. She never counted her individual success as enough. So in 1908, at the age of 63, after 29 years of professional service, when most people are looking toward rest and retirement, she co-founded the National Association of Colored Graduate Nurses. She became the national champion for life, the moral anchor for Black nurses nationwide. Additionally, at 75, she was one of the first women of any color in Boston to register to vote after the 19th Amendment was ratified. Miss Mahoney didn't just break the glass ceiling. She laid the floor for every Black nurse to come after her. Her advocacy was so potent that 25 years after her death, her organization successfully merged with the American Nursing Association and changed the nursing profession forever. Mary Eliza Mahoney died in 1926 at the age of 80. She never married. She never had biological children, but I contend that her children are the thousands of nurses practicing today. Her legacy lives in every one of us when we show up with skill, courage, and care. And I'm so honored to count myself among them, a child of her legacy. For me, this is more than a history lesson. It is a call to honor the profession, steward every opportunity with excellence, and never underestimate humble beginnings. They are often the soil where greatness grows. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Deborah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Mary Eliza Mahoney, the first Black nurse. Mary Eliza Mahoney. Thank you so much, Dr. Deborah. And now I believe we have one more speaker for the hour. And her name is Flossie Najama. She's a registered nurse with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. She is a critical care nurse with 30 years of experience. She's also a best-selling author of Village Vibes. She's the CEO of Simple Life Healthier You, LLC. And she's a neuro-linguistic programming master trainer. She naturally reversed her own autoimmune disease and created the trademarked B.L.A.C.K's turmeric tea, which is now part of her wellness movement mentor program, GPS to a Healthier You. She's a finalist of the Senior Missouri Pageant 2025, and she was awarded the Daughters of the American Revolution Award for Community Engagement. She has been featured on several media outlets, Fox TV, OWN, Boss Talk, and Dr. Smiley Show, and more. B.L.A.C.K inspires audiences with her message of resilience, restoration, and simple steps to healthier living, and carrying her mission of purposefully giving back to the community. Ladies and gentlemen, B.L.A.C.K Najama.
Hello. Good afternoon. I'm really humbled to be here. Dr. Pat, thank you for that introduction. And I'm so excited to be sharing this Black Hour of Power with you all. I'm going to be talking about my hero, person that I admire, Viola Davis. I'm titling this The Power of Being Black. So let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered if where you came from might quietly limit how far you're allowed to go? Have you ever looked at your beginnings and thought, it really doesn't look like success? So today, during this Black History Month, I want to remind us, all of us, that history is not just what happened. It is what is still happening today, right here, through us. And so I want to talk about Viola Davis. But as I do that, you're going to hear my story too. Because resilience has a familiar rhythm. If you've ever come from nothing at all, not enough, then I ask you to lean in. Viola Davis was born in extreme poverty in Central Falls, Rhode Island. She lived in condemned buildings. She often went to bed hungry. Rats were running through her house and home at night, and she was one of 6 children that were growing up in a very crowded household where survival came before comfort. Her mother, she worked long hours. She was a maid. She worked in a factory. Her father, he was known to struggle with addiction and instability. Her home life was unpredictable. And at school, Viola was mocked. She was mocked for being poor. She was mocked for her clothes, mocked for her smell, and even mocked for her dark skin. She said that shame followed her into the classroom long before it followed her back on stage. In her memoir, Finding Me, Viola doesn't soften her past. She actually tells it like it is. She tells it truthfully. She talks about fear, hunger, invisibility, and the long journey to self-worth. And before her rise, she had attended Rhode Island College, where she earned her degree in theater in 1988. And then she went to Juilliard School, which is known as the world leader in performing arts education. There, she was one of the few Black women in her class, even still carrying the financial strain and the deep self-doubt. Excellence in her, it didn't erase the hardship. It grew from it. When I read her words, I feel seen. It became personal. When I read those words, it was so personal. Because I was born and raised in a poor, tiny village in Kenya. No electricity, no running water, no modern amenities whatsoever. In fact, I didn't even wear shoes until I was 12 years old. Different countries, but same valley. Poverty doesn't always look the same, but it feels the same everywhere. It feels like your dreams don't match your surroundings. What makes Valhalla so extraordinary isn't just what she achieved, it's how she carried her story all the way with her. She didn't erase her past, she used it. That, to me, is Black leadership. Viola is bold in her truth. In her book, Finding Me, she tells the world exactly where she came from and who she had to become to survive it. She once said, "I don't believe in pretending, I believe in truth." And that truth became her power. And village life taught me boldness as well. Boldness meant walking for water miles and miles. Boldness meant believing that education could create a different future for me. Bold leaders don't deny their past, they stand on it. Viola walks with authority because she owns her story. That authority, it led her to historic milestones. She actually became the first Black woman to achieve the triple crown of acting, an Oscar, an Emmy, and 2 Tony Awards. She also became the first Black woman to win an Emmy for lead actress in drama series. But authority doesn't come from trophies alone. It comes from knowing who you are. Village life taught me authority early. Scarcity, it teaches our decision making. Responsibility, it teaches us discipline. Viola had the courage to audition when she was told that she wasn't the type. The courage to speak where silence felt safer. The courage to tell stories others avoided. She challenged Hollywood publicly, risking comfort for truth. Courage took me from village life to places I'd never ever imagined. Courage is leaving what is familiar, and courage is believing that your past doesn't disqualify you. And also, Vala invested in knowledge, crafts, training, growth, and even when doors were staying closed, she studied, she trained, she refined her voice. And she became a producer, creating space for stories that center Black women and Black complexity. Knowledge, it turns survival into strategy. My village taught me knowledge too, from elders, from observation, and from resilience. Viola succeeded because she refused to let poverty race define her ceiling. I did not escape village life, I built on it. Black History Month, it reminds us that resilience is our inheritance. You don't have to erase your story to rise. What you do, you refine it. Because why? You are Black, bold, a leader with authority, courage, and knowledge. And as we celebrate Black History Month, let's all remember this. History is not behind us, it's right here within us. Viola's life in her New York best-selling book, Finding Me, it proves that greatness can rise from the deepest of valleys. And her story, my story, your story, our stories prove this truth. That where you start does not determine where you finish. So, if you happen to be standing in the valley today, keep going. Just keep going. Because that same ground that shaped you will one day support your rise. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Flossie. Thank you so much. Wow. Viola Davis, that's another one of our favorites, resilience. So I believe that concludes our speakers for today. I thought we were all going to maybe just join back in. If you're still here, you can join back in so we can just get maybe a few final words about your experience. I know we're very appreciative of our hosts that allowed us to share. So in 1 minute or less, let's just get some final words. Carol.
I just appreciate being here and hearing all the beautiful testimonies of people that we want our children to know about. And I think this program is excellent. I appreciate you inviting me to be here, and I hope that this gets spread. When we talk about Black History Month programs, sometimes it's just entertainment, but not education. This is well education, and I thank you for being here, and thank you for offering this for our community, everyone.
Excellent. Diane, did you have any parting remarks?
I just wanted to thank all of you. What wonderful stories you have shared and the testimonies. I just have so much gratitude for our Black culture and for all that you have given to us. And we are so blessed to know that we are one family. And so I'm very, very grateful to be a part of this. Thank you.
And we're grateful that you joined us as well.
Thank you.
Dr. Jan, are you? Yeah, Dr. Jan.
Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed this hour of power. It was just that. It was powerful. And I think given what we are dealing with in society today, we need hope. And each and every one of those people that were shared today gives us hope for the future.
Thank you. Dr. Deborah?
Yeah, I would like to say that this has been exciting for me. I enjoyed listening to all of the comments about all of the wonderful people. I noticed a common thread was that we are standing on the shoulders of those who made the sacrifices. And now our shoulders are the ones that others will be standing on. So that gives me hope. And it's so exciting to be in the company of such great people. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. And Flossie?
Well, simple, Black power, so much love, so many learnings. I just feel loaded with joy. That's all.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Well, I thank you all for participating as I hosted this hour. And another thanks to our sponsors for putting this together, Dr. Smiley, Dr. Smile, Dr. Breakthrough, and our fierce coordinator, Minister Tanisha. So I'm going to turn it back over to them. And again, I appreciate you all for participating in this awesome, awesome, very, very unique experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Patricia, for hosting. Thank all of you for being here. And we want to just encourage you as you're watching today that you would go and share. This is day 16 of the Hour of Power. And we definitely have experienced bold leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge, not only the ones that we have spoken about from our past and our current life, but also the ones that have been doing the speaking. So thank you, ladies, for being amazing in where you are in your respective places. And so we will see you all tomorrow for day 17. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Is it gone? All right, ladies, thank you.